All right, what's up, everybody? We're doing weekly recaps here with Finding Your Way, Finding My Way with LigaM. Mike here doing, he's on week three, so he's already got a strat set up. Um, he's using MAs, MACD, RSI, standard BRT stuff. He's using the MAs, what is it? The 10, 50, EMA 100, back to SMA's 200, and then 666. So we're using standard BRT, and he's gone through a week of trades. I think he's doing pretty damn good for 3 weeks in. Probably, I wonder how he compares to mine, but that doesn't matter. So we're pretty much just gonna jump right into him. I know, is
This is
this
Monday,
one?
so we're not gonna, even though we run these on Thursdays, I didn't trade last Friday either, so we only have to go to Friday last week. Unfortunately, I missed last week on Friday. I was at Comic-Con and what did we rip down? 1,300 points that day.
Last Friday.
That was a 1,300 point dump off because of tariffs
Was
or
it?
something.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was. I was not, I don't think I was trading Friday either. Yeah, we fell
Yeah.
from 25 300 all the way to 24. Damn, I mean, it actually shot down and gapped up 24 200. So you up about 1,300 points.
Yeah, so I didn't trade Friday, which who
It's
knows,
okay.
could have been could have been a great day. But anyway, here we're here on Monday. So Monday I was off. So I was relaxed. Um, Opened up the old 930 right here. This little doji. This is a 5 minute chart,
Yeah.
and break of structure has been working really well for me, as well as identifying like divergences and other stuff too. I've been really putting in my toolbox, and so Monday was a quick one and done. I caught this trade at the bottom here. I entered, it was 8:35, so somewhere around the middle of this green candle, a little bit less than the green candle, basically broke above this red candle right here. And I saw this cross here on the MACD, and the 10 MA was already pointing up. Um, Probably could have used a little more confluence on this trade. I believe I also was looking at this on the 1 minute, so we'll go to the 1 minute real quick. I've actually gotten pretty good with getting us back to the day here, so we'll do this. So we're on the 1 minute. If we look at this on the 1 minute, which I believe, yeah. So on the 1 minute looks a lot nicer too. You can see a nice clean cross here. 8:35. So we got in right above here. So I saw this break here. I basically took it as a 1 minute break of structure because we were on a downtrend, came up, came down again, started to base or bottom out here. And then boom, took it right here and basically closed out a little bit early here. And if you look at the 5 minute chart, this is a real quick two candles and it goes back down. So I got in and got out. I took my 20 points. It was a straight 20 points. I didn't come out of contracts or anything of that nature. I believe I was looking at the 1 minute two on here and I saw the MA starting to curl up. I started using Semper's curl, looking at the MAs to curl, like if they're curling one direction or the other, kind of gives you an idea as a soft confluence whether it's going to be going up or going down. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's quick and easy on Monday. Monday was a quick and easy day for me.
That makes sense. So I think, I mean, that's awesome, right? It's a win. Right, that's awesome. I mean, it looks like just keep the chart still. I'm gonna draw on it all the
Mhm.
way over here. So it looks like he got in around there, I think. Uh,
Mm,
the here is I think 30 and 40.
yeah,
If
here,
I
right
take it
here.
all the way back, yeah, right in the middle, right here, actually. All right, so let me remove all these right here, and then you got full out pretty much right here. Yeah, I mean, I would say even though it was a win, to recap what you could have done better is there was nothing here. So you actually had a I don't have my mouse with my drawings aren't gonna be as good. You actually had an inverse head and shoulders. Um and it's kind of hard to I mean, so you do have nice higher lows on the RSI. So I do think it is a solid trade. I mean, there aren't many. If you actually scrunch up the chart a bit, we can look back and see what was the price action like before here, like around the
Okay.
open. So this is all the way around like 10. Okay, so you've got no imbalance here. That was basically filled. You do have a split here, but I'm not worried. I think the imbalances are better than the splits. So you do have a split there. Nothing. That imbalance was filled. Um, yeah, and then oh, let's see. I mean, there's that split, but again, not worried too much about that. Bit of an imbalance filled up here. Oh, bingo. There we go. There's actually the imbalance. Um, Imbalance is fortunately it's something that's easy to see because ICT traders use the opposite. I know Semper's been talking about them, but they're basically it's like the stuff outside of the FVG. Right.
Yep.
So here's like an FVG. And then that makes the imbalance this part, like the rest of the candle, if I
Hmm.
understand correctly by imbalances. So I suppose what I'm saying here is you had higher targets available to you
Yep.
that came across, so you didn't have to close it all, and and instead I would recommend if you don't feel confident about it, you can always take out two. But try to hold that last one to at
Hmm.
least trail like 1 minute candles.
Yeah.
Because if you trailed 1 minute candles, even if you just trailed literally one candle with like a 2 tick offset or like a 2 point offset, you would call all this. So that would have been up to 75. So you just would have caught an extra 20 points. And what's cool is I think Frank, I think as long as the target isn't asking for a break of structure, then it can be pretty good. Like a lot of people, they do fibs, and what they would do is let's say they called this a break of structure and they fibbed this thing out here, and then they got in around the GP here. They would look to only get back to the 100. But actually, the 100, it will either shy. You can see like it wicked here, right? Like it didn't actually, here would be the low around this line, right? But if you didn't include the wick and you just did the price action, it actually shied it a good bit and then started ripping. And then when it broke it, it broke right through it. So
Right.
that's to say that if you're when you're picking targets, it's like either shy it by a good bit, and then you can chat with Semper because he's really good at it, target those imbalances,
Yeah.
um, and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean overall that's my thoughts on that. Pretty solid. I mean can't argue with the three cons for 20 points. But ultimately, I think nothing would have gotten you out. One thing Semper always said to me is look for something that can help you stay into the trade.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so,
I think this week too, as the week went on, I got better with trying to leave one in.
mhm.
It's even potential, and I have to go back and chat, but it's even potential that I may have closed out all three on accident and instead wanted to just subtract two. But um, there are some trades this week that I was able to, and like even last week that I was able to kind of let run because
Right.
now I'm not really so much targeting like a $50 or $100. I don't have a target number or points anymore.
Hmm.
Now it's just more of like, stay green and try to get as much as possible out of it. Um,
Yeah, I would say for that, if you're targeting like 100, I don't know why I'm drawing with my man trackpad. It's just like a habit. Like draw and think. If you're targeting like $100, um, I would say once you get over $100, consider how much. Like I would say, put something there And then when you get over it, consider how much of that you want to be willing to give back.
Right.
Me, what I usually do is I'm looking at my goal. I have a financial goal, and the financial goal is what I would need ultimately just to survive,
Hmm.
just to do well, not survive, but to do well. So I consider that right at least like 100, um, for like a good trading salary, 100. And then you got to consider like the prop firm and the taxes. So it's more like maybe 150,
Yeah.
something like that. And then if you take into account that there are 250 trading days in a year, I like to estimate that I'll only trade 200 of them, right? So that's
Yep.
only trading 4 days a week. So if I go 150,000 divided by 200, 750 a day total. Um, right. And so let's say right now I'm looking for about 1,000. Like I just for the round number.
Yep.
But 750 total. So let's say I shoot over 750 and I get like 850 or something like that. What I will do is I will usually I risk about 200 to 300 a trade. I will look to take one trade. Basically,
Gotcha.
like all of that to say that if I overshoot my daily goal, I'll give myself one more and then may like if it's really, really, really good, maybe a second one, but probably, you gotta for me, I gotta control myself very well.
Of course. Of
So
course.
that's all that. I agree. I don't really have a solid I have a financial goal, and then after that, just let it go.
Okay.
But all right, let's see the next one.
All right. So Monday was a good day. Tuesday was the absolute epitome and worst day of the week. And probably my worst days since we started. Let's go to the five. Tuesday. All right. So anyway, earlier this week, I think as I was talking to you and Semper, was trying to get the idea of imbalances wrapped around my head. And after
Yeah.
Tuesday, I think I got them. I well, after Tuesday, I really started to drill them more into my head because I was trying to play one and I played it wrong here on Tuesday and it bit me in the ass. And not following my rules also bit me in the ass on Tuesday. So yeah, Tuesday was a psychology type day for sure. We opened up 9:30, which is right here, this big red candle, and dumped off here for the first 15 minutes and then started coming back up. And I saw the imbalance basically. I saw two. I saw one here and then here. So we had a double. Well, I guess you could say two FVGs. But so basically, I was going to target this and I was looking for the reversal to come back down. I think it was in part my brain here was also saying like we're coming back up to the 50% mark here on RSI and this at the time, MACD wasn't per se like looking to cross. So, and we were still under on the MA and everything else. So it was still bearish. And I was basically I wasn't following rules and I was trying to play an imbalance without actually following anything. So it was like a seat of the pants kind of, and I also did not set a stop. And it was moving fast. It was, first half hour it was like greased lightning. So
Mm.
I had entered at 543, which was basically right around the bottom of this candle here, as soon as it opened. And we just went whoop right up. Like not even
Yeah.
didn't even think about going back down. It may have went down initially or something, and that's why I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna be fine. And then it just went right up to 611, which is somewhere near the top of this next green candle. So and then from there it was just I added a little bit of insult to injury and took another. So that was a solid 65 points, and then I took another L right here right afterwards, trying to probably catch the same thing. I still saw this here, and I just wasn't fully. And I think Semper said it today to somebody else. I didn't totally understand the strategy and the science behind it and how to use it in the whole 9 yards. And on top of that, I just didn't follow rules, didn't set stops. I was just
Yeah.
Loose cannon. So, and I think I
Right.
said to you guys, I usually give myself three red trades. I took two and I locked myself out. I just said, screw this. It was like a $500 loss. I went in heavy. I shouldn't have went in heavy. So there's a whole lot of no's. So yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, quick,
100%.
quick, quick note. If you're gonna be using an imbalance, like for this one, you went short, but the imbalance wasn't filled when you got in short, right? Or
Right.
did you get short after? Yeah.
Yeah, it's too
Wait
early.
for that imbalance to the upside to be filled before making a decision. Not before entering a trade, but before making a decision. As you look at that yellow line, that green candle filled the imbalance and then it pulled back, and then it was on top of that moving average, and then it made a decision.
Yep. Yeah.
Uh, there
I
was
think
one quick imbalance on a real small imbalance, but not much, and
right.
that's what you got to keep an eye out for. Is if there's no imbalance to the downside and there is an imbalance to the upside, where do you think price action is going to magnet to? You know what I'm saying? If all the imbalance to the bottom side is already full, and you
Yep.
see an imbalance on the top side, you know it's going to magnet there, but you need to wait for a pullback to get in the trade to get up there.
Right. Yeah, and I did basically the exact opposite. And I think also I had watched and started following the imbalance stuff late last week, and then going into this week, I was like, all right, I'm going to start trying to incorporate them. And I was still looking at the fills or the FVGs versus the actual imbalance candles, and I also wasn't paying attention so much as to how big those areas were and how like important these were. So I kind of just I was basically winging it on Tuesday, and as the week went on, I got better. But exactly to your point, Semp, and I think I showed you guys a couple that I had marked off too. Like this one, I just way too early. And this one, it still wasn't even technically really filled there. So it was, yeah, it not good. Just not a good day.
No, but I see that you're starting to get the imbalance. Trying to starting to notice imbalances a little better. Now you got to know how to play them with your strategy, because if you can figure out where there is an imbalance, say there's a bigger imbalance to the top side and an imbalance to the bottom side, you're gonna once you start playing them more and more often, you're gonna figure out, okay, if there's a bigger imbalance on the top side, then it's probably gonna magnet to that top side first before it goes back down,
Yeah.
and vice versa, right? And those are little characteristics that you should be trying to find. If there's a huge imbalance on the top side and a small imbalance on the bottom side, it could fill the small imbalance because it's closer to it and then go up. Or magnet to the top side and then it left a little sliver, and that's something that Brandon has always taught us, that sliver gaps are dangerous because
Yeah.
it'll live a sliver and it won't close that same day. Maybe it'll close a day or two later. And that's why you can't take, when you're learning something new, a new strategy, a new skill like fibbing and all that, you have to um identify all these little characteristics so you know how to use it better, use whatever tool better. And then like I would learn it, trade it in sim, validate it in sim, and then confirm it, on a live trade. So that's why I always started new participants on sim, because there's no emotion of losing money or anything. You're just playing the strategy how it should be played.
Yep.
And then you add the emotional attachment of the money side, and then you can figure that. It'll make it easier to figure that out, because sometimes you get nervous and you start tunnel visioning and you start trying to predict where the market's going, where you should be reacting where the market's going. Like right there at that play, you were trying to predict that the imbalance would fill and then go in your direction, but it didn't completely fill until a little bit later, and then it made a decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, rocketed.
True, and you would have at least had a red candle if you waited for it to fill. And there was no imbalance really. I mean, I guess there was a little bit. Is this a little bit of an imbalance to the bottom side underneath Semper? Did this bullish move create one? I did this
Yeah,
bullish.
right there,
This did create one right
like
here.
right here somewhere.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's a little tough for me to see because I try to not look. I don't really look at like the FVGs and stuff, and I know imbalances are connected to that. So,
Well,
you know,
an FVG is on top of an imbalance.
right, exactly,
You know what I'm saying? If you look for that impulse move, like if you mark off those dojis, how I taught you guys, a small indecision doji with a huge candle next to it,
right.
and then there's an imbalance
Yeah, okay, what's up?
between,
What's up? What's up?
and there's an imbalance.
What's up, man? How you doing? Chilling? Chilling.
Oh,
Not too. Nothing.
sorry about that, gang. Okay, go ahead.
If you mark off that doji, and then there's an imbalance. Let's say you marked off that green doji on the top right here,
I have to
right,
draw
and then
draw a
there was
square
an
for you.
imbalance right here, and then there was an imbalance right here on the bottom. That's like a confirmation of, okay, as soon as it tags that doji, the body or the wick, I'm gonna enter a trade. That's your decision.
Right.
Uh, so you should either think of getting in or wait for that to fill and then wait for your moving average to hit and then make a decision.
Yeah,
Either way, you're waiting for your levels to hit.
you need like a confirmation. What's interesting is the way that James teaches it, and I know you, obviously, Semper, you know this, you've seen the videos. He like marks off the imbalanced doji as like the area to hit, and as soon as something hits it, it's like immediate trade open with like the stop loss being above it.
Yep.
And I don't know if it would work for us per se because we're not like he seems like I mean he claims it works on all time frames, which obviously you use it on a 5 minute. But I feel like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like if we played it that way all the time on like a 5 minute chart versus like a 4 hour chart, it doesn't always. It seems like more than not, it goes in his favor on a 4 hour chart versus like a 5 minute chart. I feel like they're getting blown through a lot more because there's a lot more imbalances. Maybe I don't know.
Okay, but what you need
Mm,
to do is incorporate it because
Right.
he said do a two level top down analysis, right? So if you're
Right.
using the 5 minute, use the 30 and the 15 minute, and that's what
Yep.
I do. I use the 30 minute zone with the 15 minute dojis
Hmm.
as lines, right? Because those lines are the first time it's gonna tag that doji, whether it's tagging the wick
Hmm.
or if it has a no wick, it's tagging the body. But what I found, and the reason why I put blue lines on the wicks of the dojis, is sometimes it'll hit that wick like to the T, and then reverse or or go in the direction. So usually sometimes like the way that I like it, and I'm starting to see why Brandon likes the speed. The faster the leg moves down and it creates an imbalance, the faster it'll come back up to balance it out and make it efficient.
Yeah. I feel like I see a lot of this. This exact
Yep.
three down, three up, or four up, or what, how with this exact pattern, this like U or Y. I don't know how many times this week I saw not only you playing them, but also like just them popping up. And
And
it's literally it's crazy.
you'll start to see them, but like I said, the faster they moves, look at how fast it is. Three no GPs down, and then right away, like I would get in at the bottom down here, because I don't know if there's an imbalance over here that created that pop,
Yeah.
you know. And
Yep.
if I don't see no price action right here near it, I'm I'm zooming out to check if there is an imbalance. I mean, I'm checking on the 15 minute, I'm checking on the 30 minute
Yeah.
right away. Like this morning, when I told you guys, oh, I hit my daily doji, I hit the white line, I got in right away because daily level is a strong level.
It's
Same with
huge.
the weekly, right? I'm getting it at the tag. I got a little bit of drawdown, like $300 to $500, and then it immediately just got sucked up. But that's because it dumped. And something that I was telling Mark was, you guys got to play the market in context, not just like the last 4 hours. You got to look what happened the last 8 hours. That's why I asked Mark. You're missing one key thing. You try to take a short when it ran all night and then it dumped in the morning,
Yeah.
right? So that's where psychology comes into play, and that's where you got to think. Okay, did it run all night? Did it dump all night, or did it go sideways? Sideways is the worst one. I mean, kind of depends if you're a range player, right? If you catch to the bottom of the range and you take it up to the top of the range, you might catch plays. But if it ran up all night, then you should be thinking maybe it'll dump because it needs to balance out the all night long run.
Hmm. Yeah, I started to do top-down analysis last week with because when you linked James's video today about the trading strategy, before we started before we started this, I started using that and just on the weekends like looking at like dailies and weeklies and stuff. And I try in the mornings before or at night, like after like whatever later on, I try to look at like the hourly, 4 hour, even daily, just to see where we're going. So, and then you asked me today, you asked me about a zone today, and I said 30, where how'd you get that level? And I said 30 minute, and I meant to say my 1 minute because I was going from the five to the one, because on the 5 minute, the the imbalance was huge. The area was humongous. So like if you tried to like set up a trade there and do a stop loss, it would be like it was like 80 points. But if you go down to the 1 minute, you could actually find two more little dojis and really fine tune it there. So exactly to what you said, Semper. It and it literally did it. It literally tagged that area and went right back up. And I'll see if I could find it later on when we get there, but I believe it was today or yesterday.
That makes sense. Good stuff. And I think the most important thing out of everything in this is the fact that you said you entered without a stop.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
that's the most important. I think he took a way bigger loss than intended. So that's the most important to remember. And I noticed for the rest of the week, you had to stop right. So
Oh yeah.
definitely
Yeah. Yep.
big
Yeah,
lesson.
something that I like to do, something that Brandon's always taught us is do the weekly analysis, do the daily analysis, and then he would jump into directly into the 5 minute and 1 minute. But now that JFX guy, so I'll do the daily and the weekly on Monday or Sunday to give me a feel for how the week might go, and then I just do the 30 and the 30 and the 15 minute every day.
Yep. All right. Toad, we're good
Makes
here, Toad.
sense. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think all that makes sense. We can move on to the next one.
Okay. Let's go on to Wednesday. And we are still on the five. All right, we're gonna let's zoom in here. So came back Wednesday with a little vengeance. I actually did something I don't usually do, and I'm gonna try to get myself more comfortable with doing it. Wednesday was I got sat down right before 9 o'clock, started looking at the charts, started mapping things out, and I saw right away that we were kind of just moving sideways here, floating around. And I believe I had picked up a divergence down here on RSI, and I had mentioned it, and I saw us starting to get like lower and lower on the 5 minute here. Let me just
Yep.
auto this. And yeah, let me see if I can find that divergence for us. Let's see. I believe it was right here. So we were super high up here, low down here, but if you look at the chart, is equal level. So that right there tipped me off. And then basically I just started following through with other confluences. So looking at MACD, 5 minute MACD, we crossed basically right here. And that's kind of where I entered. So I entered at 008. I went in pretty heavy. The only thing I didn't have going for me was the 10 did not cross the 50. But I felt pretty confident. Like we were really ranging sideways, and I felt pretty confident with these two down here showing me what I wanted. So I entered. I entered it at 008 right here. So pretty much at the top of this candle. I set a 20-point stop. So I was up probably just right above this high right here. So and I let it run. I set one contract to sell at 20 points. Um, and I actually it looks like I went a little farther, and I'm not sure as to why I went so much farther, but I went a little bit farther. And then I sold another one. Maybe I took 30 points on purpose for a certain reason, but anyway, I sold another one. I took 40 points off here, and then I sold another one at 8.8, and then I had moved everything down. So if it did start coming back up, it would just I wouldn't break even. I would take a little more profit, but I wouldn't get quite as much as I did here. So yeah, I caught this nice dip here and called it a day, and it was pretty big this day. I think I did like 150 or 180 bucks this day, so
Yeah.
it felt good, especially after the Tuesday.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome trade there. I don't see let's see here. I mean, you have I don't see what exactly. Could you scrunch up the time so we can see more of the pre-market? Um, let's
So
see.
I'll
Yeah,
just
I mean, there's an imbalance here. So that, yeah, that to target. I think there's one here. So you had that to target. So you had targets that were looking good as well. I think that's awesome. Um, and then ultimately you could have even thought about, no, I didn't see any, I don't see any created to the top side. But yeah, I mean this right here, I remember seeing this one. I thought it was awesome. So you definitely thought this trade was pretty good. He got in three, held for a little further of a target. That's fine. Took two there. And then, yeah, ultimately gave it some room and it got stopped out of here. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think that was a really cool trade. I mean, I saw this trade and I was like, yeah, this is probably a trade I would even take. So I personally thought this was a really great trade. I mean, separate, do you have anything you think about this one? Because I almost don't even have any. I'm like, yep, you gave it a chance to go further, right? It was a good entry. You got the slowdown on price action, potential lower high. I mean, it's a little bit of a top call. You don't exactly have a structure break. But like you said, you did have that RSI divergence, and stuff like that. So I mean, overall, not bad. I
He
think
had
this is a pretty good one.
he there was a small imbalance right here that green candle filled, that green doji where he entered filled.
Okay.
But yeah, you took that down, right? Oh shoot. I'm writing on things. So you took that down, entered on that green doji. Were
Yep.
you scared at all when it went against you?
No, because I had my stop set,
Good.
and the
That's a
stop the stop was right above like all the highs. So I'm like, if it's gonna go against me, it's gonna go against me because it's got different plans. But the divergence, I've been watching for divergences on RSI, and I've yet to find one where it hasn't followed it. I mean,
oh
I've only been
you'll find some. You'll
I'm
get
sure I
some.
will. I'm sure one of them will kick me in the ass, but I keep seeing them, and every time I see them, about 5 to 10 candles later, depending upon time frame, they fucking go off, and I'm like, God damn it! And there was a big one. I think it was like last week that after Toad kept pointing them out on my first week of finding my way, last week I saw one and I was like, and then like, oh yeah. So the divergence
Yeah.
felt like my break of structure, right? Like I was using break of structure as a primary like entry per se or a primary thing, and then I was using like MACD, RSI as confluence and other things. And the cross divergence felt like break of structure for me. So that was the first thing that kind of tipped me off. And then, like you said, like Semper was beating into my head last week about candles getting smaller, things slowing down, something's gonna happen, blah blah blah, and the whole 9 yards. I basically that's literally just everything kind of lined up. I don't know. I think after Tuesday, I was so annoyed after Tuesday because I just didn't follow rules that I came back with a vengeance.
No,
Yep.
that's good. That's the way you want to be trading, where it's going against you and you have no emotion. You're not getting nervous. You're not getting mad. You're not getting scared. Because those emotions start to creep in. That's when you're like, your palms get sweaty, your heart rate goes up, and you're like, should I get out? You start questioning your trade and you don't give it room to breathe. Uh, but so I'm glad that you said that, because that's one of the hardest things to do is a lot as a new trader is being able to take the emotion out of the trade without being scared. And
Right.
that's another reason why I do sim trading instead of live trading, because you get all that out of the way and you hone in on the strategy instead of creating bad habits, creating that emotional attachment to a move
Hmm.
instead of letting the move breathe and play. Um, but there'll be other skills that you'll need to learn, because there'll be times where it will go against you, and if you don't have that stop, there's other things like a hard open close above your original stop. Like if you had a line where your stop loss was, usually
Right.
what I do is I'll use a hard open close. So open above that line and a close above that line. I'll get out. Sometimes you'll get wicked out, and that's what it's called, the sweep. It'll sweep the top, and then it'll go down in your favor. You're like, dang, if I would have just waited or held on, how could I have fixed that? How could I have not got wicked out? The only way that you could not get wicked out is if you use the hard open close strategy, which is a hard open above that line and a hard close above that line.
Yeah, those wicks, man. Those wicks. I've gotten killed by those wicks a few times.
Yeah, and the more experience, the more screen time you get, you'll have better feel for those type of moves. And it's good that you noted that the price slows down. Even if you're in a trade and it's going in your favor, and all of a sudden it like hits like a wall and it starts to slow down, you might want to take profit there, half profit or 75%, and let one ride, and then BE or profit stop the last contract. Like this last maybe 2 or 3 months, I've been using the BE, and if a trade goes $500 in my favor, I'm taking profit there, and then I'm putting my BE out, and I'm putting my last target out, and that solidifies that trade green no matter what. You get out of that trade green, and you can always re-enter, and you might even get a better entry.
100%. And that's that feeling it out in the moment. That's the sort of thing that's so hard to teach in like the recaps. It's just that feeling, that speed, that watching that price action. And really like when you get out and then it comes further and then you get a better entry, it's like those moments right there that solidify that whole thing and make it feel fantastic.
Yeah, that's something that Brandon has always taught us. Like especially with now that he's only trading futures, when he's in scout mode, he'll lock it. He'll have like 10 MNQ, right? And he'll lock in three at 10 points and another three at 20 points. Then maybe it goes a little bit more to 25, 30 points. He'll lock in another two and let one ride. That's how he's playing them. And that's how he's always consistently locking in profits. Because I used to hit my first target and I never used to put a profit stop. And then it would go against me, and I was like, dang, I gave money back. And then, the profit that I already gave money that I already locked in, I give it back. And I was like, dang, And I would always just listen to Brandon. He's like, okay, hit my first target, my BE's out. Now it's time to lock in at 20 points. If it hits
Yep.
20 points and
Yep.
whatever, he gets BE'd. And then it makes it easier to re enter a trade
Yep.
instead of taking a red trade and then you're scared to take a trade.
Yep.
Yep.
Refusing to give that green back. 100%. That's actually so I started using a specific myself. I would use like 10 micros, like a 10-point stop or like 5 micros on the 20 point, and yeah, go break even. Take one out at like 1 to 1, 1.5 to 1, 2 to 1, all that RR shit. And then yeah, go break even. I've got a ton of break even stops. You know what I mean? But ultimately I just keep taking them and taking them and taking them, and the equity curve is looking good. So I
Mm,
think that's way better than, it's like if I let something go past my entry, it's because I took most of it out. And it's like, if you take 8 out of 10 off, and then it can go so far past your entry before the trade is actually read, but you don't even need to let it do that. So yeah, 100% echo that. And I think that mentality right there is part of what helped me um even have my consistency. So
Yeah,
yeah, I highly recommend that.
and when I say BE, you always want to at least cover your commission for the contract or be green $10,
yep.
$15, $20, whatever it is. Don't give that money back.
Yep.
And yeah, now that I'm looking at it and I spread this out a little bit, I did 20 points, 20 points. So I went down to 988, took one, had two running, took another 20 at 968, and then the last one I let that one float. So
Yeah.
it was good. It was
Yeah,
good.
because you hit two 50-point trades already, right?
Yeah. Pretty much. Right, can do
40
math. 40
points.
points. 40 points. Yeah.
Yeah, that's still $800, $900 with one contract on NNQ. On
Yeah.
NQ, I mean. But if you're not ready for the big boys, instead of doing one NQ, do 10 MNQ so you can at least lock in profit and not feel
Yep.
like you're missing the move.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know of a guy, I watched his whole story. He became a millionaire off of micros. So,
I like the control. I like
yeah,
yeah.
the most important thing, no matter what you trade, I think everyone could probably agree to this. The most important thing is that you have to trade whatever lets you execute the trade the way it should be executed.
Yep.
So, because there are definitely a lot of trades that where I'm on like some trades where I'm on NQ, and then I don't trail. My trailing methodology is once I've been in deep enough profit, I swap to trailing on the 15 and the 5 minute because they're more consistent. You can catch larger moves, right? But if I'm on NQ, there's no way in hell I'm trailing a 15-minute candle, right? Because that can be a whole $1,000. That can be way more than that. I mean, a 15-minute candle, that can be 100 points. That can be 200 points. So, but on an MNQ, if there's a reason to trail it, I'll do it. So that's the most important thing. But I think this one was also, I think, I guess you're not even at that point yet. So don't worry there.
Hey, just start tracking all your trades, like red, green, three red trades today, two green trades today, one red trade, whatever, so we can get a ratio by the end of the week. So like that,
100%.
we can have a barometer of okay, he's still fucking up, or he's improving, or it's all baseline. So we got the baseline last week and this week. Now we got to start. Okay, we're doing something good. So like whenever we give you a tip or a skill or something, or we give you a new lesson and you regress, we can identify it right away to correct it.
hmm Yeah, I have we have a performance thing here. I'll do the report later, but the performance stats in Tradeify, I sent them over to Toad last week. So what
Hmm.
I'll do this week is I'll do this week's and send them over to Toad again, and then we'll start comparing them. We can share them with you too, Semp. Actually, I don't even really mind. Honestly, I don't even mind sharing them in general chat. There's nothing. I have
Yeah,
nothing to hide, so we can share them in general chat. They're really fucking good. They tell you literally everything. They give you the calendar, the whole nine. So and I got my trade log here on the bottom too. So
100%. That Tradeify report's pretty great. Yeah, man, track everything. That right there, like Semper saying, that's another thing that catapulted me. I started tracking it. I tracked all my trades, and I realized, yeah, one week I swapped to a size really small, so small I didn't care. I started tracking them, and then at the end of that week, I realized, oh my gosh, like 80% of my trades are green. I was like, I have no re if I'm in the right mindset, I have no reason to ever fear taking a trade.
yep.
Like it's like you get the stats and the stats prove to you that you know what you're doing. Um, so
And that your
yeah,
strategy works.
yep,
'Cause you don't want to get stuck in that infinite loop where you're just, oh, this shit's not working. Let me go start off from fresh. And then you're like, because even if you think you're gonna start off from fresh, you're not
true,
starting off from fresh because you're no matter what, you have that baggage from your old strategy.
true.
Not until you 100% solidify that your strategy works, you're not going to get rid of that old baggage. And you're still never going to get rid of that old baggage because you still have experience from when you were using that strategy,
Yeah.
right? But what you can do is, okay, what good can I take out from that old strategy and incorporate it into my current strategy?
True.
You know, take the good and the bad, just like you're learning to be a leader or whatever. Hey, I like this leader. I like that. Oh, I hate this leader. I don't like that they do this and that or whatever. You're okay. You don't want to do what the bad leader does, and you want to do what the good leader does, but you also want to do what the bad leader does good.
Yes. Yeah, right. You can pick out good traits from bad people. 100%. Just like you can pick out good stuff from your strategy. Even if whatever you're doing right now isn't working, there's something good you can take out of there to not start from nothing.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. But you don't have that. You started fresh and you're starting with good MAs, you're starting with the MACD, the RSI, the imbalances, you're starting with
Break a structure.
both Semper and I break a structure. Yeah, so you don't have, you're not running into quite that problem yourself. Did you take any other trades this week?
I did. So this was yesterday. This was Wednesday, right? Yeah. Let's move on to the old Thursday, which is
Damn, that's so
today.
true. I really love, while you're scrolling through, I really love that saying right there, Semper. I really think that's so true. That's something I say about a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Like people like somebody does something wrong and then people try to act like they've never said anything right in their whole life. It's like, no, you got to think about it. You know what I mean? You got to think about everything. I love that.
All right.
All right, so you took a bunch today, it looks like.
Today was yeah, today was a different kind of day. Today was a good day. Today was my best day I've had since we started finding my way. And I even took a pretty decent loss today, and I reeled it back in and recovered. And I didn't revenge trade either. It was only one loss. But I started off the morning, same thing, 9 a.m. Just kind of looking to see what was going on. Um, we had 074 right here, and probably something similar. Let's auto. Let's fix this. I don't know what was going on here. This thing always gets screwed up on me. Where is my RSI? This is all out of whack. Anyway, um, No divergence or anything of that nature, I don't believe this morning. Um, I had taken this potentially off of the 1 minute. I may have taken this 0.74 trade here. This was at 9:11 a.m.
Okay.
So we entered at oh, maybe this is the right day. No, this is the 15th. Here we go. 0.74 entered and took 20 points down to 54. And
Okay.
it was chopping this morning. That's what happened. We were chopping hard this morning. Um, and I think I was trying to look for an entry on something, and or trying to just play the chop, which definitely should not do. Do not play a sideways chop. That's not my jam at all. I know Semper is good at catching the ups and the downs during the chop, but I absolutely cannot do that. So I had entered at 0.74 and grabbed a quick 20 points, which I don't even know. Was it even 20 points? It was 20 points based on this. So um I may have cut one early or something of that nature and then had it come back up on me. So it wasn't even really 20 points. It was a $40 trade. So
Wow.
just basically playing the chop, which quite frankly I shouldn't have, but and I guess you could call it lucky. I got lucky with the green. Um and then I was playing the chop again at 10:10 and I took my loss there. I gave it a little bit of room to breathe. I said I'm going to give myself a 30-point stop instead of a 40. I think I was trying to potentially even play an imbalance here. And I think I was just trying to chase chop this morning and it wasn't working out. And I said, I'm gonna let this like figure itself out. Um, and then basically once I let it figure itself out and I started seeing like breaks of structure and following crosses and everything else is when it really started to let me get rid of this, when it really started to make sense. So let's see here. Let's go to the 1 minute so we can break this down a little better. So here was my morning. So I entered over here, 0.74, and then I took one contract off at 0.54, which I probably should have taken the entire thing. And then I let the other two run up. So I basically broke even on the other two, sans the fee. So that was this morning, took 40 bucks, started out green, and then we just chopped so hard this morning. And I saw here that we had a break of structure and we were pointing down on the MA underneath on the 50 on the RSI. Of course, this is 1 minute, so it just doesn't hold as much value as the 5 minute chart. And I tried to grab this, but I grabbed this way at the bottom, and because I thought we were breaking, I didn't wait for well, I waited for close on the break structure, but I didn't really wait for this to finish what it was doing. Grabbed it on the bottom, held it, set my stop loss, and I hit my stop loss that it whipped right back up. Like this is all one candle right here. It whipped like right back up almost immediately. It took it maybe, I don't know if we look at the trade, it probably took it like 15 seconds or 30 seconds for me to hit my stop on this. So I had taken a 30-point loss here and yeah, and then I started playing like then I really started like locking it in and here we are. 138
Okay.
went right up.
Yep.
I only started with two. I was light here. Sold one at 168. Felt like we were at the top. Got rid of another one at 170 and saw that we were starting to reverse here. Caught this doji right here, 168, basically right at the top of this red candle here, and let this ride down for two all the way down to the bottom. Closed out two immediately. So I had two winning trades right here. And then I found another one downstream a little bit. Same thing, 071. Found the cross. I believe I was watching RSI and MACD on the 5 minute. I mean, we can review them as when you start talking more into depth, but caught the 071 right here, basically in the middle of the candle, or maybe the lower part of the candle, and then rode this down. And I took three here because the confidence here was super high. I know I had a cross here on the 5 and everything. I'm not going to change it yet, but had a whole bunch of confluences with me here, and we went right down. So I just started doing my 20.1 contract sells. So I took one at 51 for 20 points, took another one a little bit early, but took another one at 0.33 and I think what happened, oh, this is my last trade of the day. I think what happened here is I meant to sell one more. I didn't actually set I meant to sell one more and let one run. And I hit the button to add another one.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, well, I'm closing this out. So I closed the whole thing out. So I wouldn't have lost. It was still going green when I added it. And but I also didn't want to like I think I may have panicked a little bit. So I was like, oh. So I closed the whole thing out. But anyway, took a solid amount of points here on this one too. Had the right idea. If I would have taken it out, I would have let it kept going, and I probably would have grabbed another like 30 or whatever, 30 or so points there on the last contract. But the idea was there. I just once again my fucking execution on this goddamn platform. I'll get it.
Right.
So wild day. So we can start if you want to go back. We can start back at the beginning of the day here.
Yeah, let's break down at least a couple of these. I do probably have to cut it around an hour today. But that's all right. We break down a couple of these, perhaps something to stay after, I mean, who knows? But I think we start with, yeah, this one here. Let's see, enter right. Let's see, that's 70, that's 60.
Here, I'll do it for you.
Hey,
74 is like right here.
perfect. Awesome. So then tolerated, I remember this one. Yeah, I remember this one. And I was thinking the short looked decent. Yep. I mean, your stop was right about here. Yep, so no problem. Caught your 20. I'd say this one is solid. I mean, you got the 1 minute breaker structure, you got the RSI coming underneath the 50. Um, you got yeah, what's that? Yeah, MACD's down. I mean, this is all right. I think the one thing he did, let's see, structure break, structure break. Yeah, the right entry, I would say the quick entry, was actually on the close. If you're going for like close a candle thing, it's actually the close of this candle. Because you had the structure break here. And then if you imagine fibbing that out, it was a real quick shot right up into the GP here. And then ultimately you could have taken some profit here. And the tough part is when you're really quick on an entry, like this would have been like an amazingly quick entry. I mean, like this would have been like a killer entry, that's not, don't worry about that. But this would have been an amazing, really quick entry, right? As soon as the red starts coming in, well, yeah, 1 minute chart, right? 1 minute chart, as soon as the red starts coming in. I mean, if you imagine fibbing that out, right, it shows red and you take the short, you would have gotten, is that 20 there? That's not 20. That can't be 20.
79 down to 64. So about 15 points.
Okay, so you wouldn't have gotten your 20 yet. Oh wait, 74. I thought 74 was like here. Oh no, down to 74, right? Because you entered at 74 and this is
Hmm.
79. Okay. So it wouldn't have stopped you out either. You would have been in here. So that's like what, 80? Is this 80? What was that again? This line, the close of this red candle right here. Is that 80? Yeah, that's 80.
About
Okay.
80, yeah.
All right. Okay, yeah, so it would have shied your 20. So that's often the problem I see with the 20, and I don't want to get like hung up on specific like points or anything like that because that often doesn't matter. What matters is the structure. But ultimately, it wouldn't have stopped you out, and then it would have came down all the way to 50. So it would have gotten like 40 points here, or 30. So ultimately you can see that little difference didn't really matter. So I think this was still a good one. And the only thing that probably I think is a really good one. And the only thing I would say you could have done better is maybe think about I would say think about how it's pre-market. So I trade a lot of that pre-market all the time, that like 8:30 to 9 to 9:30.
Hmm.
Um And one thing is definitely as you get like 20, 30 points or as you make a leg with a lower low and stuff like that. Like you got this low and you make a lower low, definitely take more. I would say only taking one here was a mistake.
Yeah.
Um, and that
I th
definitely you
I
wanted
think
to
that's
take
what
more.
happened too, is I didn't realize it was 9:30 and it hit
Yeah,
9:30 and it went woo, it went like crazy. So, and I know I had moved my stop to make sure that I didn't lose any money. I stayed green, but I would have likened to taken a little bit more. I mean, we hit down to what, 41, so yeah, I probably just missed my 20 points for 54 down to 34, but um yeah, totally. I would have likened to taking this one a little bit more for sure.
yeah. Okay. Then yeah, I'd say just keep that in mind. Yep, when you're in pre-market, no big deal. Um, and then yeah, let's go on to the next one. So -3 here. Oh yeah, it's
This
definitely
was
some
the red one.
chase.
This was the red chaser right here. This is the whipsaw chop chop chase action right here.
Yep,
So,
definitely some chase and a wider stop, right? They
yep.
extended that stop, and that's okay. You don't want to have a hard 20-point stop all the time. Um, nowadays I really, with micros, I'm often trying to go for a hard 10 or 20 just because, like, I don't know, I'm trying to capture kind of algorithmically. But this one thing you have to remember is to never extend your stop. And I have to remember that too. I think that's something I'm writing down all the time is stop giving because all of a sudden it's like, oh, you enter down here, let's say, and then it's like all of a sudden you're getting multiple green candles that you're just eating. And it's like, why am I eating multiple green candles in a row, like on a short? So definitely keep that in mind to not extend that. I mean, yeah, I just think this was chasey.
This was
But that,
chasey for sure. I saw the break. I didn't really, I mean, I had some confidence with it, but not enough. I should have went in a two, number one. It was moving like a mother. It was chopping. I recognized that it was chopping up and down. I thought we were coming out of the chop here.
right.
And obviously this is actually where it broke to go up. Because we reset. We were kind of basing out here, right? One, two, three. And then we broke under it. And that's where I was like, all right, we're going. And sure enough, it was like, nah, and went up, boom, and then higher low, and then went right up. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, definitely chaser choppy, kind of just not great trade. And I definitely the 30-point stop thing, the whole stop thing. I mean, thank God I said I stop. I wasn't screwing up again like I did the other day.
right.
But yeah,
Yeah, that would have brutalized you.
yeah. So I made sure I had a stop, and it wasn't, super large. I just went 10 points higher than I usually did.
Okay. And I would say one thing, and I actually got caught in this today. I got caught in the washing machine of this right here. It actually really, really, really freaking pissed me off. But I think one thing to notice is, I mean, this right here, followed by the lower low, followed by the higher high, followed by the lower low, like. When you see that, all right, like you can get the one time fresh high dump or the one time fresh low squeeze, but it's like oh, I think once it did this at 9:45, so you say you don't like to trade open, right? So it's like
Well,
or
now I'm starting to because I'm doing really well before open.
that
I
that's fair. So I'll give you some advice on that because I feel similarly. It's you can trade open and you can leave something on for open to catch the momentum, but just make sure you're taking off like most like so you're three. Make sure you only have one on for open.
Okay.
in my opinion. You know what I mean? So try to take two off before open and then
Yep.
set your break even stop. And then sometimes you will get that 50 points, that 100 points on open. Sometimes you will, and you're risking only your profit. Um, but let's say, 940, let's imagine that. So by the time 940 comes around, you've already seen a fresh high dump, a fresh low squeeze, and a fresh high. It's like, and you said, I remember around here, you said, do I trust this break? So all the way out here, you knew that this stuff was being untrustworthy. So I would just say for like market environment is like when you see it do this multiple times, the the uh the screwery, um, I would definitely expect that to keep going. And honestly, that's exactly what the market showed. It showed right here that uh, no one wanted to take a risk.
Yeah.
It showed that. Like I'm not just saying, I don't think that I'm just interpolating, projecting my own opinion on the market. I think this right here scared the market to the point that nobody wanted to do anything. And then we had to wait all the way until that 10:30, so like that 10:30 algo swap, we had to wait all the way till that for it to actually do something.
But that
So
was
just something
also
to
a
think
fresh
about.
low squeeze right here.
Right here? Yep. Yeah.
So when something that you guys should notice when it starts basing like that, at least one or two times, it might come and sweep these two previous lows and then go up.
Yep.
And what you want to see is a wick of the sweep, right? I don't know if we see it on this one. Sorry. Yeah, we see it on this red candle right here. You see how it
Yep.
has a big bottom wick,
Yep.
and then
I
it
can
has an
zoom in
indecision,
here.
and then the next candle, all the sellers got squeezed right there, and look at where the squeeze point is, right where the sellers thought they were gonna dump it on the buyers, because there's two big wicks right here, and right here,
Yep.
and then right there, right when it gets right above those wicks. Usually, what I like to see is this candle, the close above right there, and then this one open up strong, and then just go. But yeah, that's what you want to see is you want to see the sweep, and then whenever you start seeing a base of any sort, start anticipating a potential fresh low squeeze. Especially since look at every time it hit the bottom, there's an imbalance there. Imbalance here got full, and then imbalance over here got full. Every time the imbalance got full, full, full. But guess what? We have this big imbalance up here, right? So as it's coming down, doesn't fill the top, fills the bottom, doesn't come back and fill the top, and then it fills the bottom one more time, and then it leaves this imbalance, and then these little imbalances in here, and then we got the big one up here. So just like I was talking to you earlier, look at how there's no imbalance on the bottom side, and there's a big one on the top side. All you have to do is wait for the small imbalance on the bottom side to get filled up and then get it to go up. Like the safest trade for a newbie to get in would be right here. Right here, but to fill this imbalance, right?
Yep.
Yep.
But look, it goes to your imbalance and then it starts to slow down. Take profit and then stop out right there. And then you could re-enter after this green closes to fill up that imbalance.
Yep.
And then finally it fills it way over here. So you can either stop out, re-enter, or hold on and maybe get stopped out. Because remember, you entered here. You most likely, unless your stop was way down here, you would get stopped out. And another thing to note is when the volatility is above 20, even though the candles look the same size, they're not. They look like they're 20 normal 20-point candles, but these suckers are 50, 60, 40-point candles, even though they look the same. But, yeah, good trade.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. Um, Anything else on that one, Toad?
No,
Okay.
that's
And
awesome.
then the last ones are over here. These three guys right here. Stretch them out there a little bit for you. This may look actually different on the 5. I'm gonna go to the 5 minute real quick just to see what we got. Yeah, I may have played this one off the 1 minute. These look way too close for me. I may have played them off the 1 minute for sure. Back to the one. Here. I'm gonna tell you do your thing. So yeah, that's when I saw this. Came back down, slowed up, and then boop, went right up.
Yeah. I think this one right here, I actually, but I could see myself taking this kind of trade. I like that you waited for a green candle, for red candles to come through. Why is my annotate not working? Let's see here. There we go. I like that you waited for the red candles to come through, and then it looks like waited for the close of a green candle. I mean, I like that because
Hmm.
I trade like that. So a little biased there. Um, and I think so you've got, if we're looking at this structure here, I mean, you've got kind of it didn't really break this low. It broke this micro higher low, but it didn't break the ultimate, the real higher low. Came up here, finally broke the higher high, and then you get in for like the aggro squeeze. I think clearly it was not a bad trade because you caught what, 40 points. Um, Up here, it looks like what you're first out 68, so it's 30 points, and then you could have, yeah, just shy of 40 points because that did come up to
Yeah.
80. Um,
I
it
saw that
did,
slowdown. I saw that small. We created that doji and then created another one, and I was like, nope. So I actually manually stopped this one out. I took the one to let the other one continue running, and then I saw it slowing up, and I said, no, I'll just take the other one off the table.
yeah. So I think this one was great. I would say, what were you using? So you got in here. Were you using the same? Let's see, this was 80 up here, so it's 40. So these are 20 each. So was your stop here?
I was down, yeah, yeah, I was below those candles. If it was gonna keep going down, I always had my stop. It was 20 points.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so this is very similar to how I trade, it's like I would have loved this 1 minute bull hammer. I would have loved that, and then you can follow through on the bull hammer, and then a stop below the candle. I mean, this, in my opinion, is a classic setup as per how I like to trade a lot of the time, and how I love. Hey, a second mentor that I have, Pete, trading on the close of the candle and putting the stop below the setup candle. This would be called the setup candle,
Yeah.
um, in my book. And then you get the second follow through candle. And then you know that your setup should go ahead and maybe give you some more. So, I mean, yeah, you get the trend over the 10. I mean, if anything, it's like, yeah, it's so tough because it's like it looks good because it's a win. All right, but let's say this was actually a lower. Let's say this was a high, and you bought here and it started going down. It's like I think we would be looking at this trade and saying it was a chase if that happened.
Right.
If it didn't squeeze out this last time for the third wave, that one, two, three. And I think going for the one, two, three, maybe I actually want to compare this. Do you know which day had that one that was a quote quote chase?
Hmm.
Do you know which day? Would you be able to get back to that one without too much trouble?
Uh, and I lost, right? And it was
It,
last week.
yeah, was it like I think it was 2 days prior to this one?
Was it this week or last? It was last week, right? It
I think it
was.
was, I don't remember. I guess it was either, no, because he didn't trade Friday. So it was either Monday or Tuesday,
Yeah,
right?
so if I lost,
It
it
was
was
probably Monday.
Monday.
Yeah, Monday.
Was it the 6th?
13th. Should be the 13th. I think
No,
so.
well, it wasn't this week. This week, so I was green on this week, and then I was green Monday, and then I was had a bad trade Tuesday. So if it was
Maybe it
this
was
week,
Tuesday. Maybe it was
okay.
Tuesday. Oh, yeah, it was Tuesday. It was 2 days prior. Um,
Where are we here? So,
yep. Is this
nope, this is the
my
13th. That was Monday. So here's Tuesday.
is this the one?
This was my losing trade for this week.
Dang it, where was it? See,
If it was a losing trade and it wasn't this past Tuesday, it was last week on Monday, I believe was the only day I lost last week.
Mhm. Okay, all right. Then I'll just check back in the video and I'll shoot your message on it.
Okay.
Whenever I upload this so we can I think what I want to say here, what I was trying to find is to point out the waves.
Hmm.
Um one thing to note is that stuff a lot of times will come in three waves. So you do have one wave, two wave, three wave, very clean, very solid. So you got in for the third wave. So that's all. I just think if this didn't give you a third wave, we would be saying that it looks like a chase. So I think that's just something to consider. But a lot of times the market in the way I feel about it is the market is either going to just grind, or it's gonna pull like all the way back, you know. Like that's kind of like the JFX. Like
Hmm.
it's either going to fill the imbalances entirely or it's just going to keep grinding. So just something to think about there. I think going aggro on the grind is like it's something I do a lot and it works out. I mean, it's profitable enough for me. I mean, I'm making money and I'm doing that. So I guess I don't have a playbook of only those trades. I guess I should now that I'm thinking about it. So I'm glad I'm here getting this idea. So just something to think about there. I think ultimately it does look pretty good. I mean, you got the freshly squeeze and you were risking just one candle. So
Yep.
so we can just look at the short and
Yep. Quick short here.
wrap it up.
Um, Saw it basically just teeter-tottering. So took it at 168.75.
About right there.
We're basically right at the top, yeah, and then just wrote it down. I did this one quick. I don't know. I
Yeah.
probably could have let obviously the one run.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know why I cut this one short.
Yeah, he cut this one so quick.
I don't know why I cut this one so quick. I gotta remember. This was today, so like my brain was probably in like a weird mode or something. I don't know why I cut this one
Oh,
so short.
I actually, I mean, it's a winning trade, and but unless you have a level here, I mean, you do have multiple dojis, right? And multiple dojis is a potential reversal sign. I mean, I'm definitely a pretty big momentum trader. Like I'm definitely looking, I'm not so concerned about the levels. honestly, I do. I mean, fibs, yes, but and stuff like that. But yeah, I'd say um, I think the dojis made this make sense, but you did not have a structure break. You did not have
Right.
a structure break until here.
Right.
And then once you did get the structure break, if you fib this out, you got the golden pocket trade again. Um, and then one thing that I'll tell you, a secret thing is always look for that. So you got the 0 to the 100, and then the 1618 is probably like down here. So this would have shied the 1618. Um, this right here would have shied that.
Yep.
And so always look for when you're using fibs and you're trying to take targets, in my opinion, don't take targets at the 100. Because I think I don't know. I think taking targets at an equal high is like nonsense. It's like it's either going to go past the high or it's going to shy the high, in my opinion. So what I'm saying here is that when you fib this out, because here was actually the good trade, right? So you caught the top because of some intuition, right? You saw the dojis, you caught the top, but you weren't confident enough in it to hold. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you just had to get up. Like you said you don't remember why you
Yeah,
cut
I'm
it
trying to
early.
remember. It was what time was this? 10:45. There I
Yeah.
had nothing going on, so I just don't remember why I cut this short like this.
Yeah.
Unless I meant to cut one and I cut two on accident. It's
Right.
that's also possible. I'm gonna switch it over to 5 minute really quick here. I just want to see
Uh-huh.
something.
Yeah.
Um,
Like
hold on.
like Toad was saying, the top trade is a higher risk trade. The
Yeah.
bottom trade is a safer, higher
Right.
probability trade. You just got to know the differences, be able to identify the differences. And on the higher probability trades, you want to have a tighter stop because, like Tote said, at the top or at the 100, that's a pivot point. It's either gonna grind back down if it elevator up, it grinds back down, right?
Mm,
If it grinds up, then it's gonna elevator down. So if it's a bunch of small little green candles going up to your 100 and you're going in long or short, and then you get squeezed out, it's gonna be a huge candle either way. Because that's pretty much the pivot point. That's where everything's balanced out, and there might be a heavier level, or there might be a tweet coming out, especially with Trump in office. There
hmm.
might be a tweet coming out, and then you get wrecked. So just be aware and be careful of that. With
Yep.
more experience, you'll learn how to play them like a hard open close above the 100, or the best trade would be a break above the 100, back shy the 161, come down and hit the 100 fib, and then go up. That's the best trade if you're not in the GP, right? Because the cycle has to finish, and eventually it's going to come all the way back down to the 0%. But that could be a year, it could be a month, it could be a day, it could be hours, it could be minutes. Uh, but yeah, just be aware.
Yeah. Um, hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so I think to let's wrap this trade up and then you got one more.
I
Oh
got a
wait, no,
couple
no,
more.
wait. Actually,
I got a couple more because I also noticed I had a few later in the day too. I took one with the friends here, but yeah, it's fine. We can
okay.
wrap it up. We can wrap it up.
Yeah, let's actually hit that one because I think this one was like that one we were just doing that you got out of early. I think is a super good example. So I think this one ultimately what you have here is when if you're watching intently for the structure break, you have the structure break right here. You have the GP trade right here. Um, you could have taken,
The Doji trade too, right
yeah,
off
you
the
got the
edges.
doji. This doji, this one that I just totally covered up. This one,
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you got the doji, right? And then you would have gotten your 20, you would have then gotten, I think, your 50. All right. And then you would have had a massive runner down here and gotten your like 100. Because if you were in here for 25, 120, yep, you would have easily gotten like 100. So I think this right here, you were watching, you saw the top, you picked the top, but you didn't have, but I think, I don't want to be, trying to read into your freaking soul here, but I think it's pretty, it's like I feel it all the time. It's like you pick the top, all right, but you were probably a little scared because you didn't really have any confluence. So as
Yeah.
soon as it went in your direction, you just wanted to get out and take the green. And that's fair because, well, it was a top call with no structure break. But then if you kept watching, you could have seen the structure break and taken the GP and caught this whole move. Because ultimately it would have never come back to your break even. Well, unless you got in on this red candle, it would have. And that is something to think about. I'll tell you, as a close a candle trader, it will often come right back. If you get in
Oh,
on a
sorry.
if you get in on a good close of candle, it will. I don't know what it is. I bet there's something to think about. I bet there's something to say about it. But if you get in, it seems like to me, if you get in on a good close of candle, especially a short, I don't know, it will come right back to your entry and then keep going down. So actually something that I like to do is right, let's say you got in on this close of candle. Um, you would have gotten your 20 here. And then it would have shied your break even, right? And then you would have gotten, I think, 50 here. What is this? 20, 40. So it would have been 40. Um, I actually don't really like the 50. I usually like taking profit at 40 and 60. I don't really like
Mhm.
50. I feel like 50, I don't know. I'm just
Bad
maybe it's
bad
just
luck for you.
superstition. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's superstition. But anyway, I like to take a couple and then I put another re-entry right at the close of candle. So that's just something to think about. If you get in on a trade and you find that you're like, oh, I entered right at the close of candle and it worked out fantastic. It worked out immediately. And then it went to my target too. Consider moving your moving your stop into like cover commission and then put a re-entry right at that. Just consider it. Because I see a lot of, I'm big close a candle trader and I see that work for me a lot. So
Well,
Yeah.
because that big candle had a big imbalance. Know what I'm saying?
true,
So
but
it's
it didn't
gonna
fill
come
it.
back and fill your imbalance that you like,
Yeah.
and then continue going in your favor.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. That's exact. And because if the trade worked out heavily in your favor, it probably made an imbalance. And then it'll come back, fill the imbalance, and keep going. Yep. So yeah, that's something to think about there. I think so what we're kind of the lessons here is like chasing, uh the keeping the stop. Um if you, I mean, I do think getting in two is fine, like on the trade, even if it doesn't have the confluence, but then not getting scared out, making sure that you're still watching for the structure break at all times, to keep those opportunities in mind.
Yep.
Um, but I would say, yeah, I definitely got to cut it around here. For the rest of the trades, feel free to please post them, or I could make anyone else host. I mean, Semper, if you want to, I know you probably got to head out. You might have stuff to do, but I could make you host if you want to wrap these up, or you can post in the chat.
I could post them in chat for you guys if you want.
Okay.
Probably good for everybody else too to have like snippets of them, and then if you guys want to comment on them, we can save them or put them somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll make a recap channel and you can post them in there.
Yeah, because I think I got like two more trades that were decent, definitely a little more structured than the earlier ones. So we'll put them up there and we'll let everybody take a look at them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I would always say, yep. Yep, I would love to see it. So that sounds good. We can wrap it here. I think this is pretty good. Try to keep going. I'd say start recording all those trades.
Mhm.
Record all of them to check your wins and loss, how many whether it was short or it was long, whether you win or lost. Try to record that for all of them to get those stats in. Um, Definitely follow your rules, keep the stop in place, and yeah, I think hopefully next week will be even better. It's looking
Yep.
great. Good stuff.
Thank you.
As Simp says, keep up the good work. I mean, he says that a lot. All right, then we'll wrap it up here. Thanks, everybody. It's Final Way, Season 6, Episode 3. Go.